Okay.
When there's a case like that, they're encroaching on someone else's property, and you can't remove it, how do they solve that? Do they just make an adjustment on each other's taxes, or like?
No. So this
No.
is why we need title insurance, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody does not have a current real property report, the next step is, well, either they can get a new one done or they can get an update. Third option is to get title insurance. Title insurance basically means that the insurance company will then cover any of these issues that may have. So now the seller will have to disclose if they are aware of any issues with the property line or property boundaries and so forth. They will have to disclose it to that. But if, let's say, the seller doesn't know, so in that case, the seller will buy title insurance in name of the buyer. So most of the things, properties where there's no real property report, then usually we'll say seller will provide title insurance in lieu of current RPR. That basically will take care of all kinds of compliance issues. But if the seller is aware, they have to disclose it. But if they are not aware, there's nothing to disclose. So then if, let's say, tomorrow, all these problems were discovered, then it will be the title insurance company that will take care of like ripping out the driveway and putting a new driveway in and so forth.
For how long title insurance will cover? Supposing I buy a property from a seller, a point A, right? I didn't do any RPR and I bought it. So now title is on my name. So the title has been changed. So for how long, if I came to know after 3 years, there's a problem in this house, for how long the previous owner or the seller's title insurance will be covering all the expenses?
So as long as the buyer has the property, right? So let's say Tom is the seller. Tom owns the property and he sells it to Jerry, right? As long as Jerry owns the property, title insurance will cover him. It doesn't matter whether he owns the property for 2 years or 10 years or 20 years, right? So as long as Jerry lives in the property or owns the property, sorry, then title insurance will cover that. But let's say Jerry sells it to Monica. Now Monica is not covered. And this is why people don't want to buy this kind of a property where they don't know if there are any boundary issues. So in order to sell the property to Monica, Jerry will then have to offer title insurance. So then Jerry will pay for the title insurance on Monica's behalf. And that's why Monica will buy the property. Otherwise, Monica will say, you know what, I have no idea what kind of can of worms I'm opening here. So I'd rather not. I'll go buy a property that has no problems.
So the by default, whoever is selling is, they are covering the title insurance for the buyer, right?
Well, that's what we do. But buyer can buy their own title insurance.
So it is the responsibility of an associate or like a buyer to check the RPR report?
Oh, it's our responsibility as the realtor, yeah.
When someone's building a driveway, concrete driveway, or a house for you, as a layman, I wouldn't know, right? That there are these encroachments. Why this is the builder's responsibility, and how would the checks pass? Basically, why wasn't the builder checked on these things that you've done this encroachment and
Ripping after?
Yeah, how can that happen? Like,
no, builder's not doing anything wrong. They're going to do the checks, but things may have changed in between, right? Our builder doesn't want to spend the $1,000 or $1,500 to get the RPR, because as soon as they sell the house, then new person will then, they'll build a fence, they will add deck. The builders know that the buyer will do those things. So they're not going to give an RPR. Most builders will not give an RPR.
Fine.
Because it's outdated.
Yes, I get that. But there is always an inspection. If they're building a driveway, a builder, there's an inspection by the city. So now if there's a concrete driveway already built by the builder, right? You see there are, in this plan, you see there are issues with the driveway, which an owner will not build a driveway after they move in. Usually the builder builds it for you, right? So then I don't think we as owners are responsible. Wouldn't the builder be responsible here? How did they clear the inspections then?
Well, this is exactly where, but somebody messed up. right?
And
Or
okay.
it may have they may have added something after the fact, because people do that a lot too, right? Inspections are done, then they go do modifications. So there can be any number of, like, for example, this particular property, like the builder didn't put a swimming pool in there, most likely, right? The owner of the house put the swimming pool, and they probably just put it in there. So people do all kinds of, like, they put the shed in there. They're not doing any, there's no inspections and stuff, right? So builders usually won't have encroachment issues unless it's the builders who are doing, like if it's one of the bigger builders, they will have these requirements. But if it's like mom and pop, right? Somebody just became a builder because they thought there's a lot of money in it. They may do some crazy stuff. So buyers should use real estate agents, right? Because buyers don't know this. So yeah. So when there's a real estate agent involved, then the real estate agent will make sure that the buyer has title insurance. So when somebody has title insurance, so it doesn't matter if there are problems, because the title insurance will cover them. Title insurance is very common because there can be issues, and it does protect the buyer as well. That's why, unless the only downside is that when the buyer goes to sell the property, they will have to provide it. But usually the buyers will accept title insurance, and it does protect them. So anyway, so it's okay to have title insurance, and sometimes it's just beneficial to have title insurance. Okay, so title insurance policies, there are two types of title insurance policies. There is a lender policy and there's a homeowner's policy, okay? Lender policy will protect the lender. So lender policy basically will cover any kind of title related issues. So if somebody commits title fraud, so they forge somebody's signature and transfer the title, or any kind of title fraud, or they claim the property's theirs. So in that case, it will protect the lenders. So that means the mortgage will be taken care of, right? It doesn't do anything for the owner of the property. It just protects the lender, their mortgage. So that's known as lender policy. And then we have homeowners policy. So homeowners policy will cover title as well as non-title issues. So title issues will be the same. Any kind of forgery or fraud related to title will be covered under that. Non-title issues will be these kind of issues, compliance issues and so forth. So non-title issues will be deck is built without permit, so it's or it may be on the utility right of way. So the city wants to do some work, and now they say, well, you need to, tear down your deck. So that will be covered under the non-title issues. Now, if there are any known non-title issues, compliance issues, encroachments, and so forth, so those have to be disclosed to the title insurance company. And then title insurance, if they cover it, they will say that they will know, they're aware of it, right? So then they will cover it. So that's how that works. So there's two policies, just keep that in mind.